everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video I thought I would do a little declutter video. I usually do my declutter videos by category, in that I go over usually my eyeshadow palettes, my blushes, my other eye products, etc. But this time I've just been kind of throwing some random things into this empty Glossybox box. It's getting pretty full now, so I thought I would just kind of sit down and do a general declutter of the things I'm getting rid of, empty this box. I do get great satisfaction in decluttering things, especially when I have so much new makeup that I want to try and these things that I'm not enjoying are just cluttering up my collection, so it's definitely time to get rid. This isn't all makeup, there are a few skincare things in there as well, things that I've tried that just did not work for me at all, that I wasn't going to use anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of. I will kind of give my friends first refusal from this box if there's anything that they want. So if you've seen my last video on Wednesday, I had this really funky hairstyle, and I'm filming this on the day I went to the Glamour Beauty Festival in Manchester. I did film a vlog from this, which I will link, as well as a separate go through of the items that I've got in the goodie bag and freebies I picked up along the way on the day. But because I did do my hair in a kind of different way, I thought I'd sit down and film a couple of videos while I'm at it. But it has been a really long day and this is my last one. And I thought, what a better way to end the day than with a declutter before I go to bed. So let's get started. First of all, we have a couple of foundations. The first of which is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. I had this in the shade Soft Ivory, which is usually my kind of go-to shade. I do tend to go for ivory, but this was just too pale on me, and I think it's actually paler than some porcelains I've tried in different foundations. It also just did not work for me at all. I really hated this paddle applicator. I just found it really awkward to apply. I did apply it straight to my face. I probably could have just applied it straight to my sponge, but I just did not like that at all. I also did not like the scent. It's really artificially perfume scented and it does kind of linger for quite a while. I was really excited to try this when I did first come to the UK, but it just didn't work for me, and because it didn't kind of break the bank, it was only a few pounds. I don't mind too much decluttering it and maybe seeing if it works for someone else, but I think this was actually one of the first things I threw in this declutter box because it was just collecting dusts with the rest of my foundations and I knew I wasn't enjoying using it. And I did find that it kind of broke up on my nose quite easily, and I also got dry patches along my hairline with it, so definitely not the best for me. Then we have the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define foundation. This was one that was in my recent chopping block series. I did keep it out because I had purchased the Conceal and Hydrate and I wanted to try that before I got rid of this completely, but I've absolutely fell in love with the Conceal and Hydrate foundation, and I tried this one more time after using that one and I just didn't like it at all. I much prefer the hydration one. After going to this Glamour Beauty Festival, I did actually get my skin scanned for my skin type, and they did say I was combination leaning on dry. This is probably why I did not like this foundation, because it definitely clung to my dry patches. It just sunk into the fine lines on my forehead too. So this one is definitely not for me, and there's no point keeping it in my collection because I'm always going to reach for the Hydrate one over it. And for a couple of skincare products, the first one is this Super Duper body butter. I really don't like the scent of this. I've had a good go at using it, I've used it numerous times, but I just don't like the scent. It says it is fruity green tuberose, whatever that is, but it just smells kind of like sagey and really herby, and I don't like anything that's kind of herbal scented. So it's definitely not for me, and I was forcing myself to use it and I really wasn't enjoying it. So surely this can go to a better home. Moisturising wise, it was pretty good. It did make my skin feel nice and soft. I just couldn't get past the smell of it. Next we have this Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula moisturiser. This is kind of like a balm, but it's a really hard balm. I do quite like most of the products I've tried from Palmer's. I do quite like the scent of this. I do prefer their coconut butter one to their cocoa butter, but this was just really hard to use. I just felt like I was having to kind of swirl my finger around and around for, it felt like eternity to even get a slightest amount of product on my hand, and once that was gone within seconds I'd have to go back in, and it was quite kind of arduous to use. Moisturising wise, it wasn't the best. I was predominantly using this on my elbows. I do really suffer from dry skin on my elbows, but I just felt like I was kind of dipping my elbows in Vaseline. It was really, really greasy and it just didn't melt into the skin nicely at all. So I just didn't enjoy this at all. So this one has to go. Then we have this Dr. Paw Paw multi-purpose smoothing balm, and this is the pink one, as you can see. This is a really bright pink balm, which I don't think I'd appreciated how bright it was. And even though it is a kind of tint, it says with a hint of tint, it says for lips, cheeks and cosmetic finishing. I don't know what cosmetic finishing is. I don't like to use liquid blush or anything like that, and it wasn't the best lip balm, so it kind of didn't do any of the things that it should be doing. So for that reason I'm going to pass that on. The final skincare product is this Umaroviska. I really don't know how that's pronounced. This is Hungarian. So this is a cleansing foam. I just did not like this at all. I don't feel like it foamed at all. It was just like a kind of face wash, but it just smelled disgusting. It was kind of like, a lot of people might kind of say something smells like an old lady, so it's like quite floral and that kind of heavy scent. This smelled like an old man. I don't know what that means, but when I first smelt it, that was the first thing that came to my head, because it does have a kind of floral smell, but a masculine one, so I think it has an old man smell. That's probably really, really offensive, but it's the best thing I can use to describe the scent of it, because I really can't put my finger on it otherwise. But it did absolutely nothing. I think if I remember rightly, it left my skin feeling pretty tight afterwards, and also stung my eyes a little bit, and I just couldn't get past the scent, so this is another one that needs to go. The next thing we have is this Milani Keep It Clean Long Wear Lip Colour Remover. I just didn't find this effective at all. Also, the packaging gets really dirty, which is annoying, but I had to use copious amounts of this to try and remove lip colour, and I wasn't even using it on the most stubborn liquid lipsticks. This didn't come anywhere near the Maybelline Superstay Ink lipsticks, whatever they're called, but it even struggled with the likes of the Huda Beauty liquid lipsticks, which aren't the hardest to remove in my opinion, but it really struggled, and I was having to use a lot of it, and then I'd end up having to scrub it anyway. I didn't feel like I was saving my lips from even just using like micellar water or something like that, so I just didn't like this at all. Then we have this Brow Coat Eyebrow Gel. It's just a clear brow gel, but it left my eyebrows feeling very, very crispy, and I don't feel like it held them in place. They just felt like I'd kind of gone at them with a can of hairspray, and it wasn't very pleasant, so this one needs to go. I have also decided to get rid of the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. This is another one that was in the chopping block video, and I said I was basically keeping it for this green shade here. There is a very similar green shade to that in the Emily Noel palette. I do prefer this one ever so slightly better, but there's no point me keeping a whole eyeshadow palette just for this one shade, and without kind of burning the back and everything, I can't depot it. So I'm just going to give up and just use the one in the Emily Noel palette, because to be honest, I don't reach for a green eye that often. I just like the option of having it. So it's time to let this one go, which I'm very proud of myself for. Next we have this liquid lipstick from Bella Pierre, which I thought I had decluttered, to be honest. I don't think I included it in an empties video, because I do think I threw it in here rather than my empties bin. But this is one of their Kiss Proof Lip Cream, and this is probably one of the worst liquid lipsticks I've ever tried. It smells and tastes disgusting, very, very plasticky and artificial. It doesn't go on the lips very nicely. It's a nice shade, which is a real shame, but within about 2 seconds of applying it, it doesn't look nice anymore, and it just doesn't wear very well, so this one definitely has to go. Next we have this The Balm Desert Bronzer. This is a really tiny sample of a bronzer, and I really struggle to use it because the pan is so small. I can't get much more than an eyeshadow brush in that, if I'm honest. So I don't kind of get a true representation of how the product works, because there's not very much I can do with it. I've tried kind of applying it with my finger, like patting it on and then trying to blend it in with a brush, but I just can't get it to work. It puts me off reaching for it. Plus, I've had this in my collection for a very, very long time. I'm probably talking about 5 years. I think I got this as a sample from, it might have been Feel Unique from the Pick and Bick samples, but when I very, very first applied for them, I can't think where else I would have got it from. But yeah, it's too old and I can't use it, so this one needs to go. But the packaging is super cute, which I think is why I've kept hold of it for so long. Next we have the 17 Falsified HD mascara. This one really hurt to use. It's got really tough brush. It wasn't overly expensive, so I don't mind getting rid of it, but I've hardly used it, which is why I've not included it in an empties video, because I didn't think it was fair to do that because I've hardly used it. But the brush was really uncomfortable to use, and other than making my lashes black, I just don't think it did anything, so this needs to go as well. Next we have a Wet n Wild Bullet lipstick. This is in the shade Rosebud. I completely forgot I had this, to be honest. I thought this had long since been decluttered. This one went a bit funny on me. It started to have a bit of a funny smell to it. It didn't feel the best when applying it to my lips, so I decided something had gone wrong with it. It wasn't expensive, so I did just throw it in here. It's a shame because it is a nice colour on me, but I just didn't want to risk it. Thought I'd get rid of this one. Then we have this Monica Dar Step 1 Prime. I believe this is an eyeshadow primer. I have only used it a few times and it was okay, but I did find that I struggled with eyeshadow skipping where I'd applied it because it is quite tacky. I've since tried one of this style eyeshadow primers from The Balm, and I really do like that one. I do feel like that genuinely makes my eyeshadow last a little bit longer, and it does blend in a bit better in that the eyeshadow does skip, but not as bad as this one. So I think it's time to get rid of this one and just use the one from The Balm. Next we have a lip balm. This is the Maybelline Baby Lips, and this is the crystal one, which is a kind of baby pink. I don't know how long I've had this, and I think this should have been binned a long time ago. I've probably had this as long as I've had this, so you're probably looking at about 5 years at this point. I've hardly used it. There's still a lot of product left. If I remember rightly, I just bought it on a whim one day when I was in Superdrug and had really dry lips, so just bought it for a couple of pounds, but I don't think I even liked it at that point. It's a kind of shimmery baby pink lip balm, and it wasn't even that moisturising. Why I've kept it for this long, I don't know. I don't think I maybe had another lip balm up until recently when I got the Carmex one, but yeah, that just needs to go in the bin. Then we have an eyebrow pencil. This is from Essence. This is their Super Last 24-hour eyebrow pomade. First off, it's got one of these annoying brushes on it rather than a spoolie, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I've just actually pulled off the end and revealed a sharpener that I didn't know was there. I don't like a precise point to my eyebrow products anyway, but the shade for this wasn't right. I think the formula was too waxy and that I really struggled to get it through my brows, and it didn't comb through very well, even using a normal spoolie rather than that end, so I just didn't enjoy using it. Then to finish off, we have a few lipsticks. The first one is this by Beauty, and this is one of their Amuse Bouche liquid lipsticks in the shade Chutney. This one is hard for me to let go of, but I know I need to do it. It's a product that's terrible for ending up on my teeth. For one, I think it has a minty taste to it, which I'm not a massive fan of. I don't tend to like minty lipsticks. And the doe foot applicator is really long, and I find that it's quite hard to keep in the lip line. So I do quite like the shade once it's on, but it does definitely move around the lips quite a lot, so I'm not enjoying using it, so I think I just need to get rid of it. And then finally we have two Smashbox Be Legendary lipsticks. The first one is in the shade Primrose, which I hadn't realised to put in here, to be honest. This is the one that is an absolute mess. It was in my project pan for this year, which I obviously had to take out because it just completely melted and was going everywhere. So this one needs to go in the bin, which I think is probably why I've put it in here. And then the other one we have is in the shade Witchy, which is just too dark of a shade. I think I've used this once or twice and I just didn't like the way it looked. So this is another one that needs to go as well. So that's it, my little declutter bin is now empty. I feel a lot better that I'm now able to get rid of these products. It wasn't an awful lot, but it's definitely things that have been annoying me that I'm keeping hold of for the sake of keeping hold of. And I do like to do a good declutter every now and then. I'm probably going to do another chopping block series within a month or so. When I had another look around just to make sure there was nothing else I wanted to declutter, there was quite a few things that I couldn't quite put in this box yet. So I've made a list of them and I'll probably be putting them on a chopping block video coming up soon. That's it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. Thanks.